mentioned from Marco and Nikita that there are available funds from the European Commission. Some of us have already experienced on that, but my question is, what would happen next? After that money has ended, where are we going to do? What are we going to do with those projects, those tools that were developed, those, how can I say, exploitable resources that we generated, the networks, the tools, the systems, the methodologies? What are we going to do that after the funding of the European Commission has ended? So my name is Daniela. I work for ICLE. ICLE is a city network, a global city network here in Europe. It's a global city network, and our office here in Europe, we are around 2,500 local and regional governments across the world, and here in Europe we are around 150 cities. So we are a city network. Our members are the cities, and we support them in accessing funds for the European Commission, so other funds, in order to advance on the sustainability issues on a city level. Our members, of course, and teams of experts, we work together to develop consortiums, as the ones that we mentioned before, but also to improve and accelerate climate, environmental, and sustainability action on a local level. So ICLE, we work on projects under a number of European national funding lines regarding different topical areas, so we cover all the aspects of sustainability. One of our major sources of funding, of course, is the European Commission, and with these projects that we get the funds, it allows us to support and conduct initiatives that are useful for cities on a day-to-day basis. So we really work on projects that have an implementation component in the field, and we want also to the governments that after the project and the funding is ending, they can continue and make the project upscalable, replicable for the future. Just also to give you some idea of the different European initiatives and projects that we are part of. Here you can see, so we've been in the arena for almost 20 years, working with the Commission. So we have projects on the environmental field, we're also in the mobility field, also in this smart, new, and green digital transition component that the European Commission is doing. We are also part of the Net Zero Cities mission. Now there's also the mission on adaptation, so we also cover climate adaptation issues. So we have a broad understanding of the policy implications and the funding mechanisms that the European Commission is bringing to European cities and regions. But one thing that I wanted to touch with you today is how to fund green, digital, and smart city projects, and everything in the context of the famous European Green Deal. We've been hearing all during these days the European Green Deal, but you know that Europe has established this target that we have to be climate neutral by 2050. Some cities in the mission have to do it by 2030. And believe it or not, the Commission has been very clear that in order to achieve these goals, we need investment, we need finance, and the European funding will not be enough. Will not be enough to really have this transition. If we want to be pollution-free, we want to preserve the ecosystems, we want to be climate neutral, we want to do sustainable food systems, the available funding of the European Commission would not be enough. So we really need to bring also the private sector. We have to do public-private partnerships in order to advance and meet these ambitious goals. Another thing that the European Green Deal has said very clearly is the importance of bringing innovation and technologies into the process. So that's why today we also wanted to share with you how to fund the smart city projects, for example. Babel is working on that already. On the ICLE side, we are working on it, but it is very important that we need to bring public and private investment together to advance on this goal. So based on the experience that ICLE has in the last few years, I think that we have seen like three main scopes of work when we are talking about funding and finance. First of all, we are talking about developing innovative projects. Marco was mentioning that innovation is one of the core issues of the projects, and we really think that this is going to really break the barriers to accessing another sources of funding beyond the European funding. We need to also work on data-driven approach, technology part, but also, of course, the social component. Another thing that we've been also exploring in the last years is this promotion of the matchmaking activities. We listen a lot of our marketplace at matchmaking, but what is really that? Is really bringing the projects to investors, okay? Not bringing projects only to the European funding, but also to investors that might be interested in funding those projects in the long term. And then fostering these private investments. Also, we work a lot with cities, and believe it or not, when we try to probably mention to them that there is external funding or private funding, they are very reluctant. I say, no, we are going only to the Commission, the funds that we are able to handle, but really, we really encourage the cities to think beyond. Cities also go also to a lot of national funding schemes. There's a lot of national funding schemes that sometimes are smaller than the European funds, but they are more closest to the cities. So cities also find these small but very more targeted national funding schemes. So we really think that fostering also the public and private investment is what really brings projects forward, and especially this new type of projects bringing technology, innovation, stakeholder engagement into the picture. So I'm going to share with you 3 examples, and with that I am done because it's still too hot and we need to finish this workshop, and I don't want you to fade away because of the heat. So one of the examples, a tangible example that is already facilitated by the European Commission is the EU City Facility. So I don't know if you are familiar. So the EU City Facility, instead of giving money for projects to be developed, research and innovation projects, the Commission is giving funding to turn the climate and energy plans into action. Okay, so they are giving 60,000 city grants to develop bankable projects. Okay, so that's the difference. It's not giving money for big funding, 4 million or 5 million or 20 million, big consumptions. They are really giving this funding for making bankable projects that they can go to the public or private investors in order to get funding for a long-term project in the city. So just to let you know, you can apply the deadline for some cities by 30th of June. But this is an example, and also how also the European Commission has been shifting also and bringing this message that the funds are not unlimited. So we really need to find other options. So this is one example, and another example that I also wanted to share with you is the ICLEI Action Fund. This is a fund, and also this is very interesting, but because we work with cities. So these cities that you see here, most of these cities have a lot of access to European funding. Okay, you see Copenhagen, Stockholm, they have a lot of funding. But what happens if the civil society organization also wants to present some projects? Okay, so the ICLEI Action Fund is one financing mechanism that we have together. We are supported by Google.org, the philanthropic grant of Google, in order to fund projects that are innovative, data-driven, that they are really fast implementation. So here you can see the vision of the private sector also here, that they want projects that are fast implementation, 1-2 years, so they want to see the results. And also on the ICLEI side, we accompany this technical development of the project and help the cities assessing the impact of this type of projects, okay? But just to let you know that from these projects, the ones that have already been implemented, most of them with the initial funding that they got from our fund, after that they are looking now for investment, further investment. So the money has ended also because this fund is not limited, and now they are going to investors to get more money for the follow-up. And then the third initiative and the third thing that I also wanted to mention, especially in the European context, is the European Smart Cities Marketplace. ICLEI, we are part of a big consortium of the European Commission, and the EU Smart Cities Marketplace is a repository of smart city projects. You can find all the information there. It's a hub for projects that would like to find information about climate and smart city solution, climate and carbon neutral projects in a city level with this technology component. And also it gives a matchmaking process to create funding opportunities. Okay, so we want to see the projects, the cities and the investors in order to get further funding, and of course it's a forum for knowledge and exchange. So also in the Smart Cities Marketplace, I would like to invite you, then we will reflect a little on how this initiative can bring you initiatives, but This initiative invites projects to do a process of getting, again, developing a bankable project. Okay, this again is not developing just a simple project. It's developing a bankable project, a project that can go to any investment bank, EIB, European Investment Bank, but also to the private sector, and they can get some funding. So all the projects that can enter into the pipeline, they follow a process of engaging into this, understanding what a smart city project is. Also, we explore with them the different alternatives for funding. We also do the shape phase, which is more making all the financial sustainability of the project, calculate all the financial numbers that needs to be brought into the financial banks. And finally, we close the deal. That's how they call. So we invited to meet some investors. Some investors are part of the network, and then they can get the funding that they are looking for. So the idea that we wanted to share with you, this is, again, apart from the funding that Marco was saying, we also have to think that after that funding is ending, we need to continue our project. We have seen in the experience of ICLE for many years, around, 100 Horizon 2020 projects, that after the project has ended, everything just got lost. Okay, there's nothing. We don't even know what happened with the solutions afterwards. So we really need to think about in the future. And just to close my presentation today, is that based on the experience of what some of these future projects can be and what make them different from those projects that have gathered this finance, the investors are really looking for tangible impact results. So when we are talking about CO2 emissions reduction, we are not talking about approximately 1,000 tons. No, investors, they want to know the real number of how many tons are going to be reduced. They also want to see improvements in air quality, for example, metrics on air pollution reduction, noise pollution. We are talking about other indicators. Also, the projects should be aligned to the city goals. We've heard that lots of cities have the carbon neutrality goals. They want to be carbon neutral by 2030, 2050. So the projects should be aligned to these city goals in order to guarantee that they will be sustainable in the long term. Of course, these projects have to look at the engagement of stakeholders, different type of stakeholders. They should be innovation examples. The data-driven component is very important to monitor and report progress, but also to unlock finance later, because if you are able to assess quantitative the impacts of your project, then this would help to get further funding and, of course, engaging the citizens. Good. So I think that's all on my side, and now we go for the fun part of this session. Marco.